In the time when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a certain man from Bethlehem in Judah went to live in the country of Moab. He, his wife, and his 2 sons. His name was Elimelech, his wife's name was Naomi, and his sons were Malon and Kilian. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. They went to Moab and remained there. But Elimelech died, leaving Naomi with her 2 sons. They took Moabite wives, one whose name was Orpah, the other's name was Ruth. They remained there for another 10 years when Malon and Kilian both died as well, leaving Naomi without her 2 sons or her husband. Then she and her 2 daughters-in-law were leaving Moab because she had heard in Moab that the Lord had considered his people and provided them with food. So they set out from the place where they were living to return to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her daughters-in-law, "You must go and return to the house of your mother. The Lord will treat you kindly as you have treated the dead and myself kindly. The Lord will see fit to have security for you in the land, in the house of your husband." They wept and embraced, and the daughters-in-law said, "No, we will go with you. We will return with you to your land and your people."
Turn back, my daughters. Why would you go with me? Will there be sons in my womb that they would be husbands for you? Turn back, my daughters. Go. I am too old for a husband. If I were to say that I have hope, even if I had a husband tonight, and even more, if I were to bear sons, would you wait until they were grown? Would you refrain from having a husband? No, my daughters, this is more bitter for me than for you, since the Lord's will has come out against me. Then Orpah and Ruth wept again. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. Naomi said to Ruth, "Look, Orpah is returning to her people and to her gods. Return with her." Ruth replied, "Do not urge me to abandon you or to turn back from following you. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Wherever you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do this to me, and more so, if even death separates me from you." When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she said no more about it to her. So the 2 of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. When they arrived at Bethlehem, the whole town was excited because of them, and the women asked, "Is this Naomi?" She replied to them, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has made me bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has returned me empty. Why would you call me Naomi when the Lord has dealt harshly with me and the Almighty has cast calamity upon me?" Thus, Naomi and her daughter-in-law, Ruth the Moabite from the territory of Moab, returned to Bethlehem, arriving at the beginning of the barley harvest.
Now, Naomi had a kinsman on her husband's side, a prominent rich man of the family of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain, behind someone in whose sight I may find favor." Ruth said to her, "Go, my daughter." So she went. She came and gleaned in the field behind the reapers. As it happened, she came to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the family of Elimelech. Just then, Boaz came from Bethlehem. He said to the reapers, "The Lord be with you." They answered, "The Lord bless you." Then Boaz said to his servant who was in charge of the reapers, "To whom does this young woman belong?" The servant who was in charge of the reapers answered, "She is the Moabite who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab." She said, "Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the reapers." So she came, and she has been on her feet from early this morning until now without resting for even a moment. Then Boaz said to Ruth, "Now listen, my daughter, do not go to glean in another field or leave this one, but keep close to my young women. Keep your eyes on the field that is being reaped and follow behind them. I have ordered the young men not to bother you. If you get thirsty, go to the vessels and drink from what they have drawn." Then she fell prostrate with her face to the ground and said to him, "Why have I found favor in your sight, that you should take notice of me, when I am a foreigner?" But Boaz answered, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told me, and how you left your father and your mother and your native land and came to a people that you did not know before. May the Lord reward you for your deeds, and may you have full reward from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have found refuge." Then she said, "May I continue to find favor in your sight, my lord, for you have comforted me and spoken kindly to your servant, even though I am not one of your servants."
At mealtime, Boaz said to Ruth, "Here, take some of the bread and dip your piece into the vinegar." So she sat alongside his harvesters, and he served roasted grain to her. She ate, was satisfied, and she had some left over. Then she got up to glean. Boaz ordered his young men, "Leave some from between the piles for her to glean, and don't humiliate her. And also, take some from the bales and leave it behind for her to glean. And don't scold her." So she gleaned until evening. Then she threshed what she had gleaned, and it was about 2 quarts of barley. And then she picked it up and she went into town. And Naomi saw what she had gleaned. And Ruth gave her what she had left over after eating her fill. Naomi said to her, "Where did you work? Where did you glean? May the man who noticed you be blessed." And Ruth said to her, "The name of the man with whom I worked, his name is Boaz." Naomi said, "Boaz? He's one of our close relatives. He's our Redeemer. May the Lord bless him as he's blessed both the living and the dead." And Ruth said to her, "Furthermore, Boaz told me I could work alongside his young women until the completion of the harvest." And Naomi said, "It would be good, my daughter-in-law, if you worked alongside his young women so that the men don't harass you in another field." So Ruth worked alongside Boaz's young women until the completion of the barley and wheat harvest, and she lived with her mother-in-law.
Her mother-in-law said to her, "Daughter, shouldn't I seek security for you so that all will go well with you? And isn't Boaz, whose women you were with, one of our relatives? He's going to be winnowing the barley down on the threshing floor tonight. So you should bathe, put on some perfume, some nice clothes, and go down to the threshing floor. Do not make yourself known to the man until he is done eating and drinking. Then, when he goes to lie down, make note of where he is lying. You'll go over, unwrap his feet, and lay down. He will tell you what to do. Ruth replied, "I will do all as you have advised." So she went to the threshing floor and did all that her mother-in-law had commanded her. Boaz ate and drank, and he was in a good mood. He went to lie down by the piles of grain. So Ruth went over quietly, unwrapped his legs, and lay down. In the middle of the night, the man shuddered and turned over. And there's a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he said. "I am Ruth, your servant. Place your robe over your servant, for you are a redeemer."
He said, "May the Lord be praised. This last act of your loyalty is better than your first. You've not gone after young men, whether rich or poor. Don't be afraid. All that you ask, I will do. Indeed, my people, all who are at the gate, know that you are a woman of worth. Now, while it's true that I am your next of kin, there is one who is a closer relative to you than I. Stay the night, and if in the morning he will agree to act as next of kin for you, then good, let him. But if he will not, then, as the Lord lives, I myself will act as next of kin for you. Come, lie down until morning." So she lay at his feet until morning and rose before one person could recognize another, for the man had said, no one should know that the woman had come to the threshing floor. He said, "Bring the cloak you have on and hold it out." She held it out, and he filled it with 6 measures of barley and put it upon her. Then she returned to town. She came upon her mother-in-law, who said, "My daughter, how did it go?" So Ruth told her all that the man had done for her. "He gave me these 6 measures of barley and told me, 'Do not go away empty-handed to your mother-in-law.'" Naomi replied, "Sit tight, my daughter, until you know how this matter turns out. For this man, he will not rest until this matter is settled today."
So, no sooner had Boaz arrived at the gate and sat down than he noticed his kinsman walking by and said to the kinsman, "Come on, join me. Come over and sit down." And he did. Boaz then selected 10 elders from the people in his tribe and invited them to come over and sit down, and they did. Boaz said to his kinsman, "Naomi is selling a parcel of land that belonged to our kinsman Elimelech. Would you be interested in buying it?" And the kinsman said, yes, I would be interested in buying it." So Boaz says, "Well, if you don't want to buy it, let me know, because I would like to buy it. And by the way, as soon as you get it, you acquire Ruth, the Moabite woman who was married to Mahlon." The kinsman said, "Well, in that case, I can't do it, because to do that would damage my own inheritance. So you go ahead and buy it for yourself." So back in the ancient times in Israel, there was a particular way of sealing a deal, whether it was a sale or a trade or whatever. One of the participants would take off a sandal and give it to the other, and that was the sign that the deal was done. So when the next of kin said to Boaz, "Acquire it for yourself," next of kin took off his sandal and gave it to Boaz. And Boaz said to the elders and all of the people, "Today you are witnesses that I have acquired the land from Naomi, and that will be all the land that Elimelech and Kilion and Mahlon owned. It's all in the family. I have also acquired Ruth. She is the Moabite woman who was the widow of the dead man. She will be my wife and maintain the dead man's name on his inheritance, in order that the name of the dead may not be cut off from his kindred. your witnesses.
Then all the people that were at the gate, along with the elders, said, "We are witnessers. May the Lord make this woman Ruth, who is coming into your house, be like Rachel and Leah, who built up together the house of Israel. May you produce children in Ephratah and bestow a name in Bethlehem, and through the children that the Lord will give you through Ruth, this young woman, may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah." And so Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. And when they came together, the Lord made her conceive, and she bore a son. And then the women said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you without next of kin, and may his name be renowned in Israel. For he shall be to you a restorer in life, a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law Ruth, who loves you so, has borne him, and she is more to you than 7 sons." And then Naomi took the child and put him at her bosom, and she became his nurse. And the women of the neighborhood gave him a name, saying, "A son has been born to Naomi." They named him Obed, and he became the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now these are the descendants of Perez. Perez became the father of Hezron, Hezron of Ram, and then several generations later, Obed of Jesse, and Jesse of David.